In the world of Disney entertainment, we've been kind of getting used to the fact of getting news after news after news on different projects or different types of pieces of entertainment that we are supposed to be receiving from the Disney company. And to be very frank, we've been getting announcements as of recently that haven't been, let's say, living up to our expectations. And I do kind of understand that, we just went through a pandemic, we just went through a writer's strike, which, put the industry on hold for essentially 3 months. So I get it. We've been getting things that haven't been astronomically better. But after seeing D23 and all the news surrounding entertainment and even the experiences part of Disney, I have to say, Disney has been cooking behind the scenes. They have been cooking. They have been doing some fantastic work that they have alluded to in the past, but now they've actually put it down into solid plans that they are going to execute coming these couple of years ahead. And for me personally, on this specific case, we are just talking about the entertainment side of this whole panel, of this whole experience that is D23, but only the side of entertainment that we're going to cover. And in terms of the experiences, maybe I might touch upon a few things that I find incredible. So let's get through with this because honestly, it's a lot of stuff. So it all started with Moana 2. And I think Moana 2 is going to be a fantastic film. I think that by far, it's going to be one of those movies where you essentially are experiencing an evolved version of Moana. I think Moana did a lot of growing up. She grew up a lot, so I mean, we're seeing a more adult version of her. I don't know how far into, the distance between one movie and to the other movie it's been. I don't know how long it's been since the last movie, but by the looks of it, she is a little bit older now. I would say maybe 5 or 6 years older than she was the last movie. So I don't know if she was 15, now she's 20 in this movie. So we're seeing an evolved version of the character. So I do expect to see that in this movie. I see a lot of the same stuff that I saw in the first movie in this one that we're going to revisit, but I want to see where this movie goes. And I think that the first trailer felt more of the same from the first movie just in this one, but the second trailer really hammered home that this is a new adventure, something fresh for Moana that I just can't wait to see. Now, something that they announced kind of out of the blue that I wasn't expecting was that they're working on a third Incredibles movie. I have to say, the first one is an absolute classic. There's no other way to put it. A lot of people put it on a list of greatest, superhero movies of all time. That is probably one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, The Incredibles. And then Incredibles 2 came in and kind of expanded the story a little bit more. A lot of people would consider the second one not as good as the first one, and I understand why, because it covers other areas that most people weren't expecting or weren't really into. But if there's one thing that Incredibles 2 did give us the opportunity is to give us a new overlay for the coaster over at DCA, which was a really cool idea because giving us that cool little overlay kind of renewed interest in that, roller coaster, even though it's been there for a really long time. But nonetheless, Incredibles 2 definitely did its job. It was very successful at the box office, so it makes sense why they would revisit The Incredibles. And I think this time around, they might have something a whole lot more interesting in the works for the characters that we know and love. Now, a surprise that most people weren't super surprised by, but still are very much surprised by, that they are definitely working on now, is Toy Story 5. Now, I do have to preface this by saying I did not see Toy Story 4. So for me to make any judgment on Toy Story, I would have to watch Toy Story 4 in order to make that judgment call and say, yes, it was the right call to make a 5th movie. But since I didn't see Toy Story 4, I can't really say whether or not it was the right move to make a sequel. So let's just say it will be very interesting based on the concept that was presented. Like, they're basically teasing that this movie is going to cover, you know, the characters in Toy Story trying to compete with digital devices. And I think that is a genius approach, because we should be able to kind of like see these characters trying to capture the attention of kids. You know, if we stop to think about it, you know, nowadays kids hardly ever go into the toy section thinking, ooh, I'm gonna go and buy a toy. Like, every time I go out to see something in the toy section or a collectible or something, typically it's everything fully in stock. Hardly anybody has bought anything, and I rarely see kids strolling down those lanes. It's because usually now they're looking at devices, they're looking at tablets, and they're not very interested in these toys. So this is a very interesting concept that I really want to see play out in Toy Story 5. Now let's talk about Zootopia 2, which isn't really that much of a surprise. Everybody has heard in some way, shape, or form some sort of, you know, background noise referencing that they were working on a new Zootopia movie. This has been, you know, the rumor now for I think over a year or two now, that people have said, hey, listen, they're working on a new Zootopia movie. So yes, they are definitely working on a new Zootopia movie. If it wasn't already obvious that they wanted to do a second movie, just look at the major investment that they put into the new Zootopia land overseas. That is all you need to know about Disney and how much they do want to revisit Zootopia. So it is going to be a very interesting movie that I definitely can't wait to see. And now another one that obviously was everybody's, you know, expected thing that Disney wants, and Disney understands that it is their most profitable property. You know, this is probably one of Disney's most profitable properties, and that is Frozen. Frozen 3 is officially happening, and it's going to be very interesting to see these characters evolve. We do get a little sneak peek into it. We get to see a little bit of what's going on with this character, with Elsa, Anna, and we do see that there might be some sinister enemy in the background. It seems like a movie that is going to be very fun. Obviously, it's stuff that we expect from Disney, and we expect them to double down on their more profitable properties. So pretty obvious that they would revisit Frozen and kind of add a trilogy, make a trilogy out of this. Now, one of the announcements that I got really excited about was Avatar. Avatar 3 finally has a name, and to be able to see, James Cameron come out and say, listen, we don't have a trailer, but we have visuals for what you should expect. That was really cool. To be able to see these visuals, see what the new movie is going to be about. We've already kind of covered, not on this channel, but people on the internet have already covered the fact that every movie is going to cover some form of either a different element or Na'vi or different tribes rather that experience, life differently. So, we got The Way of Water, we have, the water tribes. Now we're going into Fire and Ash, which is the new movie. Avatar Fire and Ash is going to cover more of the fire tribes, and being able to see the fire tribes in concept art is pretty freaking awesome, and I just can't wait to see this on screen. I love Avatar. I want to preface this by saying I do love Avatar, and that's why this was one of the more interesting things that they could have covered. And I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table with Avatar 3. And as much as we thought that Star Wars was not going to be a part of this panel, we all knew that Star Wars was going to be a part of this panel one way or another, but we did not expect them to drop more information about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that's going to be coming out, I believe, in 2026. And that's being, let's think about it. Could be 2026. We never know. Maybe they push it back. Maybe they do some other thing. Maybe they, have something that's going to take a little while to make, whatever. We know that Disney has done that in the past, Blade included, but we're not at Marvel yet. Yes, I really do hope to see this movie. It's going to be interesting because how they left things off on season 3 of The Mandalorian, he's kind of like, settled down. He has a little shed, a little, cottage that he has that he's there with Grogu. So I hope that it stays that way. I really hope that it kind of shows an adventure unlike anything else that we've seen before. And I hope it really does have that weight. I really hope that it brings weight to this story. And I hope this movie's good. I just really hope that this movie is a good movie, that they don't botch The Mandalorian, that we've seen what they've done with Boba Fett. I really hope that this movie, even though Boba Fett was a series, I hope this movie does the right thing and carries a toll or some weight to it rather than just being something that's very throwaway. But that Mandalorian movie isn't the only thing that was interesting to me. Honestly speaking, the Mandalorian movie was not the thing that I was most interested in hearing about. The most interesting thing that was actually a part of my kind of like perspective of wanting to see was Skeleton Crew. And we finally get the trailer for Skeleton Crew, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure this trailer played for people back when they did, I believe, Star Wars Celebration last year. So yeah, we're getting this trailer almost a year after they already got the trailer to those people back then. So I don't know. I mean, I wish it was sooner. But putting that aside, what do I think of Skeleton Crew? I think this series is going to be awesome. I think this series is definitely, it's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of soul. It's more tailored to the Star Wars experience like we expect it to be. There's a certain hopeful factor in the story. Being able to see Jude Law as a Jedi is pretty freaking cool. Just the overall energy that this show feels seems very authentic. After watching The Acolyte and having done my video on The Acolyte, you can see that video. You can go onto my channel and see that video talking about The Acolyte. After The Acolyte, I'm looking for something more hopeful, something more uplifting, And I hope that this is the uplifting story that I'm looking for in the Star Wars universe. At least that is what the trailer shows. The trailer shows that you can make a nice, hopeful story in the Star Wars universe. And if it delivers on what the trailer is giving us, then I really think that they got a successful series on their hands. And we might possibly get a second season if it's a good series. If it ends on a cliffhanger to think about later on if it's going to have a sequel, I don't know. It has to be good. It has to be a good series. That's the main thing. If it's got a good story, I can't wait to see it. Now, we did also get a quick little sneak peek behind the scenes of Andor. Andor is a series that I've said before, that it's excellently produced. And I have a feeling that I'm gonna like season 2 more than season 1. And I think in part it's due to the fact that we're gonna see the characters from Rogue One in this, and we already know how Andor ends. Andor is gonna end very much right at the beginning of, that storyline that we see him going through in Rogue One. The end of Andor is just going to connect right into Rogue One, and that's going to be the connecting factor in this story. And I really like the concept of having 12 episodes, and every 3 episodes it jumps a year. So that to me shows that the pacing of the show, it has to be very fast. And I love that. Having 12 episodes that you can fulfill your story and tell a very fast story within 3 episodes of each one, whew, this is going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait to see this on screen. So let's talk about a little bit of Marvel news that we got. So let's right off the bat say that we got another look again into the Fantastic Four trailer, which I think that even though it should have been released by now to the public, it hasn't, so I don't get it. They should have just released it to the public now. But yes, I really think that Fantastic Four is looking really great. It's looking great. The vibe is fantastic. Having the music be played at the event, having this full-on experience of what this movie is going to be like in that trailer is fantastic, because that's what Disney's supposed to be. It's supposed to have this sort of incredible experience set up for the Fantastic Four and for all other heroes, because lately, we've been getting flip-floppy events, and then obviously now we got Deadpool and Wolverine, which was fantastic. That's the thing. This is the vibe. This is the energy that I expect from Marvel. And if they are willing to succeed, then I'm here for it. So yes, Fantastic Four is definitely one of those movies that is on my list of must-go see in theaters. And I definitely will want to see it in theaters. We also got some TV news, which is in the form of Ironheart and Daredevil Born Again, which are great series. Ironheart is looking really fun and interesting. I'm loving the new suit. I think the new suit looks a whole lot better than what they had for her in Wakanda Forever. I really hope that they keep it this way. I hope that the energy that they're showing that this show is going to have, I hope that it goes forward with it. You see that I can continue to say throughout this video that I hope that the energy of these shows succeed, and that's because after what we've seen before come about, after the Acolyte, of seeing that trailer and being like, oh my god, and then seeing how it turned out, really, that's what I want. I want something incredible from Disney, and I hope that Ironheart does that, because it deserves to do that. It deserves to give people something fun to enjoy, and Ironheart looks like it's going to be that. On the flip side, we also got a look at Daredevil Born Again, which is bringing back the entire cast of the Netflix series, which is a surprise to me because, based on my understanding, we're seeing a much more evolved Daredevil in this, and I hope as well that this is going to be one of those hard-hitting series for Marvel, because it deserves to be that. It's supposed to have more action. When I saw the first season of Daredevil on Netflix, honestly speaking, it was very boring for most of it, because it's just him talking, him doing stuff that doesn't matter and stuff. I want more action. Give me more Daredevil action, and you'll get a thumbs up from me. That's my main thing. Just give me more action. You can have the talking points, but give me more action and more funny bits that happen that people will, catch on to. If they can do that, they'll succeed, and that will give them a thumbs up, at least for me. But those two also weren't the only thing coming to Disney Plus, because we got a new trailer for Agatha All Along, and this new trailer digs in a little bit deeper into what is going on here, why Agatha is going through this, this moment, why she's going through a forest, this whole idea. And we find out that it's a journey that she has to go through as a witch to regain her powers. So I think this is going to be interesting. I after looking at the trailer and thinking like, okay, this is a continuation of WandaVision. This is Agatha kind of trying to regain her power and trying to like wake her up in a way. It's like wake up the power that's inside of her. If they can do that with her, if they can actually give her a good arc, I think that she can be one really interesting Marvel character. So much so that they're giving her a full series. So I really want to see what they do with Agatha, because she's the type of character that you never know if she's telling the truth or if she's lying. And seeing this series and seeing Aubrey Plaza pop up, I have a feeling that Aubrey Plaza's character in this is gonna act in a certain Beetlejuice kind of way. She feels like a Beetlejuice type character, and at the same time, she acts a little bit like how Agatha was acting during WandaVision. So it's kind of like Agatha getting a piece of her own medicine in a way. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Agatha plays out. And to think that we only have about a month or a couple weeks before we actually get to see the series is pretty freaking cool. Now, something that I really did not expect is that they actually gave us a first look at Stitch, because they are working on a Lilo and Stitch live action movie. Now, the fact that we already have seen the reference photo of him, because we've already seen online the reference photo of what this version of Stitch is going to look like, I'm very glad that they actually did a great job of making him a live action Stitch and not botching it like they did with Sonic. Because may I remind you, before Sonic looked like the way that we know him now, and why it's such a success in theaters and in media, it's because before then he didn't quite look like Sonic. He just looked very skinny, tall, and I don't know, he just didn't look much like the Sonic we know and love, until the artists went back, rebuilt him to make him look more like the version of Sonic we know and love from the video games. Now, have they succeeded in doing a great job of making a live action Stitch? Yes, they have. Will the movie be great? We don't know, because we haven't gotten any sort of trailer based on this movie yet. So just this little sneak preview, they have succeeded in making Stitch look like a great live action character. And that gets a really cool thumbs up from me. Now, we've said this already on this channel. We've already talked about this one movie on this channel, and I think now we've actually gotten some really cool closer looks at Tron Ares. Yes, I've done an entire video about Tron Ares on this channel, and in part it's because I really do think that Tron Ares is going to be a great film. Typically, recently, I would say movies that have Jared Leto in them haven't been box office hits. But, okay? None of the movies that I've seen recently that had Jared Leto in them were Disney movies. That's all I'm gonna say. Because last time I checked, Morbius wasn't a Disney movie. So, that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's what I'm gonna say. that wasn't quite a Disney movie. So I hope that Disney has written a really great character for Jared Leto to play. Obviously, it looks to me like he's going to play an enemy character. He's going to play some sort of antagonist. And hopefully it works out, because I really do want Tron to succeed. After Tron Legacy, say what you want about the story. The story sucks at some points, and it's not fantastic. You know, it's not a massively gripping story. But the visuals of Tron Legacy are absolutely beautiful, stunning, spotless at times. There's no way to put it other than the fact that Disney invested money into an attraction based on freaking Tron and the look and feel of Tron Legacy, because the visuals were just that good. So it makes sense that they're making a sequel to Tron Legacy. But let's hope, cross our fingers, that this is a good story and not something weak and that falls flat, because I really want Tron to succeed. It's representing games. You know, I'm a freaking gamer, so I mean, I hope that this movie actually takes off and is a fantastic film. Now, there is another film that I think that people weren't expecting. Not in the sense of we weren't expecting to see it at D23, because we already got a trailer for Mufasa, I think, a little over a month ago at this point. So we already knew this movie was coming. But not a lot of people were like, wow, we're going to get a Mufasa story. Now, I know why Disney is doing this. The Lion King, at least the live action, quote unquote live action, I use quotes because I watched John Campea, and John Campea talks about, you know, how this movie isn't a live action movie, but people consider it a live action movie because it's fully animated. Everything is CG in the movie, but they call it, because of the realistic characters, they call it live action. So the live action version of The Lion King made a whole lot of money. It made a whole lot of money. So it makes sense that they would go back and revisit these characters and kind of tell the origin story of where Mufasa comes from, which few people ever thought. Maybe his storyline is fantastic and has twists and turns, but apparently it does. You know, Scar is involved. Scar kind of found him in a way, and they grew this bond, and this is going to be a very interesting film. This is just going to be a very interesting film to watch. I think that they are tailoring this to allow us to understand why Mufasa is the way he is. Not who Mufasa is. We kind of already know parts of him. You know, he's a very strong leader. He's got this gravitas to him. But what made him that? What made him that? And why did he end up the way that he did? So that's a big deal right there. And I think the story is also going to give Scar a good core, you know, origin story. Something that should be a big deal. I think it should be something that should be discussed, because ultimately when we see him in Lion King, he's just a bad guy. But we don't really understand why he is bad or what drove him to be such this vile version of a character. So hopefully this movie covers that and gives us a good reason why he became that way, and in the end give us a good lesson to learn to not make people become that in the end. So that's my hope for Mufasa, the Lion King. And now I have left this very one for last, and that is because even though this wasn't the last thing of the night, I wanted to leave this one last because I think that this is going to be a very special movie. I think that it is going to be a very core, grounding story. And, you know, it's kind of returning back to its origin story. I think Disney is going back to its origins and thinking, how can we retell this story to a modern audience, and how can we retell it in something beautiful with a refreshed mindset? And that movie is Snow White. I think Snow White is gonna be a very, very good movie. They have a fantastic amount of cast in this movie. They bring an incredible connectiveness that at least that's what it looks like to me. I know they're going to be talking about the CG dwarves. Listen, I wouldn't be judging the dwarves. Like, listen, they look great. The CG is there. A lot of people don't like the CG because it looks too realistic, and then you hit the uncanny valley. I get it. A lot of people don't like that. But I think it looks great. Now, if there is one thing I do want to talk about, and this is the reason why I wanted to leave it last, is the fact that people have been complaining about Rachel Zegler. And to me, that is a problem. Because I feel like the same energy people are putting into this movie are the same people who are complaining about Halle Bailey playing a mermaid. The same people who are saying that Rachel Zegler shouldn't be playing Snow White are the same people who said that Halle Bailey shouldn't be playing The Little Mermaid. And to me, that's a problem. Because you are simply judging the movie based on someone who doesn't look like the character. And that's a problem. I have a bone to pick with people like that. Because I want to ask you personally, if you're watching this, and listen, I don't rant very much on this channel. I don't go off on a tangent or anything on any major subject. But I feel like this is an important subject, and I want to ask you this question, and I want you to be 100% honest about this, and I want you to put that in the comments below. Here's my question. What difference to the story, to the overall building block of the story that we were experiencing in The Little Mermaid, what factor would you say did the person who was playing it make to the overarching story? I'd like to know, because I watched The Little Mermaid. You know, I've never really watched a Little Mermaid story from beginning to end. I've seen bits and pieces. I love the song Part of Your World. I think it's a beautiful Disney song. I mean, Halle Bailey killed it, dude. She did a fantastic job. I think it's a beautiful film, you know? Did her playing the character change the overall story? No, it didn't. Nothing that she did in that movie make a major impact to the overall story. And I'm talking about the person. I'm not talking about the character. I'm not talking about Ariel. A fictional character. Okay? We're not talking about a real character here. This isn't, a history lesson. It's a fictional character. Okay? That people got a little tightened up cork up their you-know-whats. So I don't see the reason why Rachel Zegler should be receiving this much hate. Because she doesn't look like Snow White. I get it. I understand your hypotheses. I understand your way of thinking. I understand that your idea of what a character should look like is based on a cartoon. Just like a lot of people's were in The Little Mermaid. And that didn't change a thing. What was the requirement in this case for Snow White? Give us someone who can sing. Period. Does she fit a certain type of character? I can't say. I can't say she fits a certain kind of character, because she's a great vocalist. She can sing. She's an amazing singer. If you haven't heard Rachel Zegler singing, watch her sing. And then come back and tell me what you think, if she should be Snow White. Because honestly, if your only argument to me saying that this movie is going to be bad because they chose Rachel Zegler and because of her views and because of this and because of that, hold on. I would like to let you know, Rachel Zegler is a massive Disney fan. The last time I checked, Disney is taking someone who loves this character and is making her that character. And is literally handing a historic part of Disney in her hands. So to me, if Disney is willing to entrust, Rachel Zegler with the story power that is Snow White, who am I to judge? I mean, listen, if you're going to tell me after watching this movie when it comes out, if you're telling me, A, the movie wasn't good, the story was a little flat, they had this, they had that, thumbs up for me. For me, if you want to criticize the story, for me, that's a thumbs up. Because for me, that's you giving your opinion, and your opinion in certain cases may matter because maybe Disney can do better in certain cases. But if your argument is that this movie is gonna suck because of one person, yeah. This isn't a Jared Leto situation. This is a Disney handing their most precious artifact in the hands of somebody who they trust. Hopefully, Disney is willing to make something incredible out of this movie and is willing to reinvigorate it by giving Rachel Zegler the stage and the main role in this movie. And I really do hope she does a great job. Now, apart from Rachel Zegler, we get to see the Wicked Witch. We get to see, Gal Gadot as, the evil queen, which she looks fantastic, by the way. She looks great as the evil queen. And we also get a little quick glimpse as the old hag, handing off the apple. I mean, we get to see that. So that's a great little interaction that we get to see from them and be able to see how well they constructed this character. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what they do with Snow White, with Rachel Zegler, and with, Gal Gadot at the wheel. And let me tell you, this D23 has been nothing short of mind-blowing. I mean, I've only talked about so far some of my favorite announcements, which were most of them. But I'm not even talking about the things that are coming to the Disney parks. I mean, we're getting a freaking Monsters, Inc. attraction, which is literally the first ever inverted coaster by Disney. I mean, we're getting a Villain's Land. We're getting Cars at Magic Kingdom. The Villain's Land as well at Magic Kingdom. I mean, we're getting Indiana Jones at Animal Kingdom along with Encanto. I mean, my God. We're getting Zootopia at Animal Kingdom inside the Tree of Life. Dude, Disney is killing it this year. This is probably one of the best D23s. May I say it? The best D23 in the past maybe 7 or 8 years. So it is very exciting to see all these things be laid out and told, hey, we are 100% dedicated to making this happen. And I really do hope they make it happen because, come on, Disney. It's time that Disney grows and competes and does fantastical things. So I really, really want to see what they bring to the table in the parks as much as I do want to see them exceed in their entertainment division. Now, before we end this video, there is a group of people that I have to give a massive shout out to, and that is all the people that were sitting in the audience, recording, updating, sending out messages saying, hey, this is what's happening, taking pictures, recording videos. telling, recording essentially the entirety of these panels, both the entertainment and the experiences panel that Disney put out. I have to give a huge shout out to you guys. Without you, a lot of people on the internet would be out of the know without knowing what's going on. Honestly, I hope Disney kind of learns and says, hey, you know what, this year we're going to put out the entirety from beginning to end, the entirety of this live, these, announcements live, because people deserve to see them. My goodness, like this could be an experience that people can have at home, and you can do it on Disney Plus. I mean, come on, this is a fantastic experience. So, I do have to give it up for the people out there who are on Twitter, on Instagram, updating people, giving every little glimpse that we could into this massive event that was D23. So thank you to every single one of you, even the live streamers who did it live. Thank you for live streaming the panels. You guys are superheroes in my mind for actually going above and beyond and doing this. So thank you so much for doing that, because without that, I wouldn't be able to be making this video. And having said every single thing in this video, I want to hear from you. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this D23 was the best one ever, or even within the past 8 to 10 years? Let me know in the comments below. If there are any announcements that you liked from D23 that I did not cover in this video, leave that down below and let's discuss it, because I want to have that conversation with you guys. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And thank you so much for watching this video and for being a part of this incredible experience that we've had now for the past 2 days, which is D23. And I'll see you in the next video.